Hi, I'm Rachel Gray. Welcome to my cooking channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make black and white cookies. These are a New York favorite, but I don't live anywhere near New York. And just in case you don't live anywhere near New York either, I'm going to show you how to make them at home. That way we can enjoy them anytime we want. The first thing we're going to need to do is preheat our oven to 350 degrees. So I've got 1 1/4 cups of flour and 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/2 teaspoon salt. And then I'm just going to whisk those together and set that aside. Next, I need 1/3 cup of buttermilk and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. Now again, I do like the Mexican vanilla that you can get in Mexico, but if you can't get that, then use the Nielsen Massey. I'm just going to whisk that together and set it aside. Next, we're going to cream our butter and our sugar and our egg. So I'm going to add some unsalted butter. I need 1/3 cup, which is 5 1/3 tablespoons. And we use unsalted butter so that we can control the amount of salt. And then to our butter, we're going to add 1/2 cup of sugar. Then we'll just need to cream our butter and our sugar together until it's fluffy. Once that's mixed together, scrape down the sides and add the egg. Then mix that together. I'm going to alternate my flour and my buttermilk. First, I'm going to add 1/3 of the flour. And scrape down the sides, 1/3 of the buttermilk. And scrape down the sides with each addition. 1/3 more of flour. A 1/3 more of buttermilk. The last bit of flour. And finally, the last bit of buttermilk. You want to end with the buttermilk. At this point, your batter should be smooth and thick. Now I just need to take my batter and put it onto my cookie sheet. I've got a silicone lined cookie sheet here. And I'm just going to take this is 1/4 cup. And so if you don't have this, you can just use a measuring. And then I'm just going to put that down. This doesn't make very many cookies. It usually makes about 8. And they're puffed like cakes a little bit. They're little teeny cakes. So now we've got our 8 little cookies all evenly divided and we're ready to bake these. We're going to put them in the oven at 350 degrees for 15 to 18 minutes until they're golden brown and they spring back slightly when we touch them. So I've just taken the cookies out of the oven. You can see they're golden brown and then they just spring back a little bit when they're touched. If they've baked together, you can just separate those with a little bit of your spatula and then let them cool completely. And once they're cold, we'll frost them. While our cookies are cooling, we're gonna hurry and put together the glaze. So it's 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. And then to that, we're gonna add 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. The original New York black and white cookie has a little bit of lemon juice in the frosting. I don't really care for that flavor, so I'm just gonna omit that. But if you wanted to put that in, now is when you would put it in. And you just use 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice. I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla to this, maybe 1/4 teaspoon. Just a little bit. And then I'm just gonna add a tablespoon of water and then stir that together until I get the consistency that I'm looking for. So I need a little bit more water, just another little tablespoon, just a tablespoon at a time. It's a little tricky. You don't want it too thick, but you don't want it too thin. You just kind of want it like that. You'll know it's too thin if you can see through your cookie when you glaze it. Because I only have 8 cookies, I don't really need a lot of glaze. I'm going to take half of this glaze out. And then I'm going to make it chocolate. I just put a couple of tablespoons of chocolate in there. And I'm also going to need to add just a little bit more water. and stir that together until it's the same consistency as the white frosting. And this is a good consistency. And now we're ready to glaze. So our cookies have cooled completely, and on a black and white cookie, what we want to do is frost the flat side. So what I do first is take the glaze, and I'm just going to run a little line right down the middle. And then I just go ahead and spread that glaze to the edge of the cookie. I'm going to clean off the side with a knife. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. So just go right down that, and I'll fix it with a knife. Then I'm just going to butt that right up against the white frosting. Go all the way to the edge. We'll just clean the edge off with our knife, and then just spread that on that side of the cookie. Then again, just clean up any drips with the side of your knife. You don't want it too runny, the frosting. And there you go, black and white cookie. And this is what they look like when they're all frosted. And you just want to let that set for a while so that the glaze has a chance to set up. It's a black and white cookie, a New York favorite in your own kitchen. You can find this recipe and over 200 other recipes on my blog, cookingwithrachel101.com. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Subscribing is free.